wonderful afternoon to all. Last October 10th, we celebrated the Mental Health Awareness Day. NOLITC commits to conduct activities and develop resource materials to promote mental health. In the last episode of NOLITC Cares webinar, we had a deep dive in the meaningful ways to communicate with the heart. Today, we will discover a new personality trait that would transform your life from ordinary to extraordinary. This is the 11th episode of NOLITC Cares webinar. This is a gender and development project of the Office of the Governor Eugenio Sebong Lacson of Negros Occidental, focusing on the promotion of self-care and mental health during this time of pandemic in collaboration with TUPV Cares and Hearticulate Psychological Center.
One of the biggest glitches our society faces when it comes to reaching success is our mindset. We think that the best way to achieve something is through sheer determination, chance, or good luck. But the real reason for success is actually grit. If you want to turn your devotion and passion into concrete goals, then join us this afternoon as we discuss a very interesting topic on grit. I bet it will give you the motivation to keep going.
I do agree with that, Doc Tina, because it really takes grit to stay afloat. Life may seem tough, but grit will help you succeed even when the most challenging situations keep on knocking your door. So join our discussion this afternoon with our featured speaker from TUPV Cares and Hearticulate Psychological Center. We encourage you all to listen, participate, and engage through your comments and reactions in our Facebook page and YouTube channel.
A pleasant afternoon to all once again. My name is Red and I will be serving as your host for this episode. In this 11th episode of NOLITC Cares webinar, we will discover the nitty-gritty in life. Grit will summon both passion and perseverance in service of our long-term goal. It's a marathon, not just a sprint, as they say. In other words, greedy people put in sustained effort over time to achieve a high-level success in whatever they do. Before we begin, just a few house rules to ensure that we have a smooth flow of this webinar. Firstly, we would like to encourage you all to fill out our online attendance right now. The link to the online attendance form is pinned in the comment section, or you may also scan the QR code that is flashed on your screen. If you are joining with us virtually at this moment, also we would like to encourage all of our participants right now to kindly comment in the comment section. Hello, good afternoon. State as where you are joining us from. We also would like to encourage you to share this webinar link to your friends, to your colleagues, to your loved ones and friends, so that all together we shall learn about grit. I hope you have already filled out the online attendance. If you have any questions about our topic, or if you want to participate with us virtually, the easiest way to engage and to let us know is to post your questions in the online open forum form, which can be found in the description box or in the comment section below. Alternatively, you may also place your questions, your feedback, and your comments in the comments section. Feel free to post some insights in there as well. The moderator will bring them up towards the end of our presentation. Please do not hesitate to engage and interact by using our virtual reactions, or you can also leave a comment at any time. We don't want you to be left out, so tell us how excited you are to learn in this webinar. You will also be receiving a digital certificate for attending this webinar online. You only need to accomplish the online evaluation of this webinar. Again, those can be found in the comments section. Last but not the least, again, invite your peers, your colleagues, and your friends, and all together we will be learning. I hope that you are catching up with me with some of our opening reminders. I hope, or if you have not seen our previous post yet, you can always check out our social media accounts, follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Right. The very essence of this webinar is to tell you or to show you how not to give up. Let us know how excited you are to join us in this webinar. Kindly comment in the comment section where you're joining us from and tell us what is in your mind. And to help us unlock another mental health life hack, we have invited a speaker who have dedicated her life to practicing self-love, self-compassion, and enriching life. She is a life coach, a wellness and self-compassionate advocate, volunteer, and speaker with decades of experience as a holistic health practitioner. As the founder of Blooming Life Possibilities, she focuses on helping people thrive through transitions. Our expert speaker is a registered psychometrician and she's working as a guidance counselor by profession. She inspires many by her positive perspectives towards life, her healthy relationships, and generally by speaking kindness towards oneself. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a generous round of applause to our expert speaker, Dr. Donalyn Guerrero Lastima.
Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Ma'am Sally, Doc Tina, and Miss Red, and of course, to our participants in the virtual floor. Thank you very much for having me. This has been a very great experience for me. And yeah, this afternoon is very interesting and a very wonderful topic because this hits home. This topic hits home really. So this topic is entitled "Grit from Grit to Great," and when we look at the title, it gives you an idea that this is going to be something personal, a story about yourself. So while I am opening my slides, allow me to ask each one of you, how are you doing? I hope you are getting better and better despite the challenge of this pandemic. All right, so the title of our talk this afternoon is Grit to Great. What is your story? Right, so it's more of a questioning about your own life, urging you to reflect and thinking about your success story, or maybe some of you will look at it as a story on progress or a story of grit to great story. So this is the flow of our discussion. So basically we're going to understand why humans are great storytellers, what happens in the brain when we tell a story, and of course, I would like to put emphasis on the story of grit, how to become great, and of course, the story of the elephant to end my discussion in a little while. All right, so let's start with the basic. Everyone has a story to tell. Like, you tell me any person that you meet that does not like to be heard, who doesn't want to talk about his or her story. Like, you can say, yeah, I can name a few people. Di ba? Kilala ko si Amoni, why kasi istorya. Wala siya siguro nag-istorya sa iyo. But, if you will give that person a chance to tell you about yourself, diba? There's a story that this person wants to impart with you. Right? So everyone's a story to tell. And it's a matter of looking at looking at the story, where did it starts and how it starts and how it ends. Okay, so like in the context of pandemic, I'm sure majority of us here have heard several stories, like story of survival, the story of successes, or some sad stories. But come to think of it, when you look at these stories, this coping, it it reflects something about that person. It is something innate. It is something that is being learned. It is something that's being practiced. It's more of a habit, so that when you want to survive now in this challenging time. Now this one is a reminder to all of us, that you have to own that story. You are one of a kind. And I really like this quote that says, I felt I had a particular and unique gifts, that I was meant for something and was like no one else. That kind of calling. You're reflecting and you are thinking about life, and you felt that there's a calling for you that no one else can do or could do. Now, let me point to the direction towards the self. No, like when I ask you a question, what's your story? What is that something that you would want to tell the world? And what kind of story it is? Is it a story of inspiration? Is it an inspirational story? Is it a challenging story? No. So, like for example, like in my case, what's my story? I've I've been in the academe for close to, yeah, I think it's 15 years now, 15 years. And I I was a young dreamer from Cabancalan City. And when I was younger, I used to look at the stars and dream of something big and wish for the best, for a better life. And I went out my way to reach out for the dreams. I never stopped, though at times, so many times, I was tempted to stop, but I never did. And I tried to focus on the goal, my dream, that I want to become somebody someday. And I'm not telling you I am, but right now, I feel that I have the opportunity, the power, to influence people. Being a guidance counselor, I know I have touched people's lives. I know that I have, in one way or the other, um, make other people's feelings, emotions, like complex and complicated situations, that easier for them to understand. That's what my job is. I also teach. I've been in the teaching profession for nearly 10 years. I'm connected with TUP Visayas as an assistant professor, and I'm also a happy and active volunteer of Junior Chamber International Bacolod. At the moment, I am the president of JCI Bacolod, and you see, we love doing things that we do. We believe that faith in God gives meaning and purpose to human life, and that service to humanity is the best work of life, right? So this is my story, and I'm sharing it to you because I know in one way or the other you could be able to relate to that kind of story, the struggle now from poverty, from zero to something, not hero, but something, something that is useful and beneficial to society. Yeah, that's my story. And like listening to my story, there is something happening in your brain during that storytelling activity. And what is that? It's a very quick lang. This gives you a visual overview of how our brain would look like when someone tells us a story. right? So there's an interaction, no, of the transmitting of the ideas, no, through neural transmission. When we tell a story down, no, a story synchronizes to the listener's brain with the teller's brain. So there's an instant connection, like when you are talking, right? You look at the person eye to eye, then you tell a story, and the person who is cognizant of your story, of the things that you're telling them about, most likely connects with you in one way, right? So basically, when we tell a story, if it's a good story, if it's a beautiful story, then hormones also are released, no? Like oxytocin, that's responding to the character. That's great or good, no? Dopamine for something that is, you have to have pleasure and to recall everything. And cortisol, no? When the story tells you something about the challenges, the 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 problems that has been the setbacks, no? That has been faced and and combat, right? So yeah, the brain tells us all. Another reasons, no, very brief lang, so that you'll appreciate, no, the psychology of stories. And I would like to highlight the stories, the beautiful stories of people that you like and you admire. So stories actually, is story or a story is a primal form of communication. When we tell people about us and when we try to listen to people, there's an instant communication, like the verbal and the non-verbal gesture. The primary functions of stories is social connection. When we connect to people, when we tell our stories, we connect, right? And when we start telling people about ourselves, they also start telling us about themselves. And when people tells you a story, what basically anong ginapamatian mo, anong ginapangita mo, ano ang mas may impact sa imo, right? Stories are also a theory of mind, no? The narrative structure of how a person think, how we process information, right? Stories also provide order when it's chaotic, right? You would want to tell a story, and after telling your story, basically you feel good because you find the sense of order. Stories are pleasurable. Stories are how we are wired, and stories also gives us the image that we need. It engage our right brain and trigger our imagination, allowing us to see new worlds and new ways of being. Right, like when you are coming from a very sad, bad experience, and when you hear stories of successes, people who overcome all the challenges, basically you feel good about it, right? And you become so engaged, right? Now, when you hear stories of failure, and when you do experience failure, basically what do you do? Okay, you can type in your responses to answer this question. How do you respond to failure? Or recalling the stories that you've heard, how were they able to manage failure? Okay, so some of you may say, I'll just stay in bed or get drunk or tell the self that you're a total failure, no, or I wouldn't try bothering trying again next time, no. But you see, there is also another way of looking at it, like when you look at things or when you hear stories of people saying, I would like to look at what was wrong and I want to resolve it. And or maybe some would say, I'll start thinking about working in a different way. I'll try another way, right? So that's another way of looking at things. And what do I mean by that? I'm sure most of you is familiar with these people. Familiar because they are famous, right? Famous in what? Famous Steve Jobs, Walt Disney, Albert Einstein, Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Beatles, right? They're famous. Their stories are worth to tell the world. They're very inspiring. But do you know that they are also famous failures? They they've failed so many times in their lives But at some point, majority of us could not recognize that. We only see the outcome of that success, right? So we appreciate them because they're famous. But come to think of it, imagine Einstein wasn't able to speak until he was 4 years old, and his teachers would never said that he would never amount to much. But right now, you see Einstein and the rest of his theory made a mark, in the world of physics, in the world of science, and the like. Winfrey actually was demoted from her job as a news anchor because she was told that she wasn't fit for television. And how how crazy was that, right? Like thinking about how Oprah Winfrey um, became so famous not only because of her ability to communicate, but also her heart to serve also to others. Like even Michael Jordan had the moment, no, the ebbs of his life. Beatles, Walt Disney, and the like, right? So, like thinking about how they were able to become famous and successful people, that keeps me wondering: was it what is it in that? What are the traits that's present? Are they highly intelligent? Are they, this one is very interesting. No, this is more of a question. And while listening to this talk, I want you to reflect, Mano, like reading or pondering upon this question. What if experiencing the lowest points in your lives made you capable of experiencing higher levels of joy? This was taken from the Global Joy Summit EPUB, and this really struck me, like questioning about your ability, how were you able to survive, and remembering the lowest point of your life, and thinking that could be, there's reason for it, and it challenges you to become a better person. And looking at this scenario or this situation, this is so fitting in the theory of Carol Dweck. Now, Dweck is a professor of psychology at Stanford University, and her works talks about more on mindset, the psychological trait, mindset psychological trait. And Dr. Carol Dweck said that change can be tough. Like sometimes when we are in the process of change, we could not really readily adapt. No? It's difficult, no? But when you say it wasn't worth it, good. But when you embrace change as part of life, then it's worth it. According to Carol Dweck, there are two kinds of mindset: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Now, let me tell you, let us talk about mindsets, Anay, because this is also very important factor when we want to become successful, if we want to become great, right? So fixed mindset, it is an idea that intelligence is a fixed trait that you can't change it. Like when you are labeled as below average in your mental ability, well, it won't change. Like when you grow old, you grow old with that kind of level, that stay night, right? So intelligence is fixed rate and you can't change it. On the other hand, growth mindset believes in the idea that a person can grow, your intelligence through effort. Like when you had, when you are rather in the challenging moments of your life and you feel that you're not good enough, you can grow, this kind of, by growth mindset, you could be able to improve yourself, to become better through your effort. Okay, so let's take a look at the dichotomy of fixed and growth mindset. So a fixed mindset is the ability of the person is static, right? It The person avoids challenges, gives up easily, sees effort as fruitless. I won't try. Okay, amo man nagyapon, sulit-sulit lang. No? Ignores useful criticism and threatened by other people, especially those people whom you think as persons who are better than you. On the other hand, no growth mindset is the ability is developed. Like when kung gamay ka pa kuno, pwede ka siya ma-develop. And even if you are an adult, your ability can be developed now by learning from it. You embrace challenge. Now, this person, if you are a person with a growth mindset, you embrace his challenges. Now, you persist in obstacles. The more challenging the situation is, the more you persist. It's very it's an innate trait no of a person who has growth mindset. Kung daw kakabulayan ka, mas gakanamian ka pa because you are exhausting so much of your ability to become better, right? And you also sees effort as necessary. There's the rule is you need to do something. In the fixed mindset, the at some point you are just left now by the choice that even though I do something like this, it's not worth trying. Wala man nagyapon. But on the other hand, if you have the growth mindset, you see effort as necessary, right? So you learn from criticism when people try to tell you something, you listen and you learn from it, and you're not offended, and you respect other people's opinion. No, and you are inspired by others' success when you hear stories like Einstein, like Oprah Winfrey, like Manny Pacquiao, like whoever your neighbor who becomes successful, the first ever engineer in your community, the first person who graduated from college, in your household, you are inspired by their stories and you would want to become better. Like in my case, there are so many people that influence me to become the person that I am right now. No? And I owe great debt to them, no? And I owe um, I'm so happy and I feel honored to meet them in my life in one way or the other. And who are these people? Of course, no, your loved ones, your your teachers, your mentors. No, and when you listen to their story, there is something in there no, that sparks your interest, that inspires you to become better. And you learn from the experience of others. So very brief lang. So fixed mindset is the idea that our intelligence, character, our creativity, and are innate and mostly unchangeable. On the other hand, growth mindset, we seize the gaps in our knowledge and try to learn from it, no? Learn the skill or skills that will make you improve. Okay, because in the context of growth mindset, it is the belief now that with effort, with training, determination, and your abilities, it can be increased. And if you think you're not moving forward in a particular aspect of your life, if you are if you are thinking in a growth mindset way, you if you have this mindset rather, basically you'll grow and you'll become better. Okay. How do we manage mindset? We also, as a counselor, I also encourage you to do self-talk. And how to do self-talk to maintain your mindset? Just follow this. Okay, this one. This may sound simple, but this is very effective if we try to, um, practice it and yeah, do it like without pressure. Right? Like for example, I want you to sit down, relax. You might want to close your eyes, or maybe you'd want to open your eyes now, whatever that's comfortable with you, and to remind you that just be here now, just be here. There are no shortcuts. I will not procrastinate. Tomorrow is a new day. If I fall down, I will get back out. No, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Rome wasn't built in a day, and I will follow my to-do list today. So these are simple reminders of how to maintain no, a positive mindset or a growth mindset. Like just be here, like in the moment, and just take a look at your to-do list, and check whether it's still okay or manageable or whatnot. All right. So moving on, growth mindset also has something to do with grit. Are you familiar with this psychologist? This is Doctor. This is Doctor Angela Duckworth, and Duckworth actually um, made so many researches on grit, and grit is a trait, that comes from the idea that passion and perseverance and talent and skills combine it together, like looking into your long-term goal, having this mindset in mind, basically you will reach that goal. Duckworth actually conducted an experiment on students, or yeah, West Pointers, and these people, ini nga mga estudyante, they're very great. Diba? Hindi ka man nakasulod sa inakulong mo sa hindi ka, ang intelligence na is high. But in this study, Angela explored, or really would want to find out who among them would successfully finish the program or the course. And she found out that not all students who has high scores could finish the task, but who are those students who had nakatapos. So mostly are those average students but could be able to proceed, to exist. So basically, Angela talks about grit. What is grit? Our topic is grit. To great. Grit actually is talent. You're talented. You have this innate ability, to survive your talent, and you put so much effort on that talent that becomes your skill. Also, when you have that skill and you put so much effort on that, it gives you the opportunity to achieve your dreams. And in this formula, Duckworth emphasized the percentage of effort put into the situation. Effort is the key. Passion and perseverance, courage, and show the strength of your character. That is grit. Passion, perseverance, and courage, and show the strength of your character when you look at the long-term plan, right? So let's take a look at talk about grit mindset. Grit refers to students' ability to persist after setbacks. So when we are faced with setbacks, when you are gritty, you tend to bounce back. You persist. Just like the bamboo, you are resilient. You come back. Grit is related to mindset and in that rather, if one believes that failures are due to fixed mindset, there is no reason to try again. But when you are gritty, when a person is gritty, you never look at things like the fixed mindset. You look at things in a growth mindset concept. So conversely, individuals with growth mindset are more likely to be resilient, and tends to be gritty and tends to become great. So you can look at the researches of Duckworth on grit, and there's so many interesting researches on that. Okay, now let's explore. Now, what are the symptoms for lack of grit? Maybe some of you might want to check on this, to really check on your grit. So a person who lacks grit or lack of grit blames others. Like when they decide on something, they want a scapegoat to their decision. They just point fingers. It's easier for them to point fingers. Procrastinate. They tend to procrastinate. They complain, makes excuses, easily gives up. And these people have low self-esteem. They try to compare, most of the time, compare themselves to other people, focus on weakness, and compares oneself unfavorably to other people. No, are you this kind of person, or have you heard stories of people who would put blame to others, who has this kind of symptoms? So if you known someone, a reminded person, I think you really need to start developing your growth mindset, right? Your grit. This one is a very good metaphor of grit. Grit, according to Duckworth, is just like running a marathon. So, sino sa inyo ang nagka-join sa mga marathon or endurance activity or activity that requires endurance? Grit, no, is passion and perseverance for a very long-term goal. Grit is having stamina. No, grit is sticking with your future day in and day out. It's not just for a week. It's just not for a day, not for a month, not but for years. You have to really be patient and do the same things over and over and again until it reaches your goal. You really work hard to make that future a reality. So this is so interesting. Like for example, like the law of attraction. Like when we apply the law of attraction, we are being told to simply think about it, think about it, think about it over and over again, and it will come, right? But there's also another concept that's very interesting, the power of manifesting. Like when we manifest something to the universe, it should be like that you're living that manifestation, that you're not wishing for it to happen, that you are actually doing it. So grit in one way or the other is just like this, like manifesting something to the universe, but you are actually doing something to reach that goal. You're not just like one kamado would just open his mouth and wait for the guava to fall. They usually do, mugita na, no, bala na daan, may mag-abot lang, no? But when you are gritty, you tend to work things out, no? Grit is living life like a marathon, not a sprint. Some people would say that when they, some people matambal sila, gani mag-run sila sa marathon, tuod sigdasig sila at the first few minutes, pero pag lapit na lang matapos, they wala na energy. So, we take life as like that, no? Or grief as like that, running a marathon. Now, at this point, I'll be sharing to you practical tips on how to develop grit or how to become a gritty person. Now, would you like that? I think if we have students in the room, these tips are very helpful to you. First, I want, of course, now assessing oneself. Assess your grit level. There are so many sample of tests or tool on grit. You can check on that on Facebook, get that grit scale. But of course, do not judge yourself by looking at the scores, right? So this is just a tool for you, to assess whether um, you are more likely not to be gritty in a situation or not. But if not, remember, as I told you, grit could, you can do something about it to improve. Use gritty words in everyday conversation, like when we talk to people, when we tell our stories. Use gritty words like emphasize the gratitude, emphasize self-confidence, you emphasize volition, like you decide, emphasize being reliable, resilience, and all these words, cloud word, that you've been looking into, right? And it's very good also, if you would want to become gritty, it's also good to find inspirational mentor who has grit. Who is this person that gives you that when you heard or when you remember his or her story, you get so inspired that I want to become that person. Okay, tackle and master something challenging that you haven't done before, that required a great deal of effort. When we talk about grit, it has an element of time. It has an element of patience. when you plant, when we plant something, we want that something to grow right away. But it's against the law of nature. Like, diba? So when we plant, we wait. And while we wait, what do? We think of other ways of how to wait patiently, the attitude of waiting. So basically, when you want to do something, you have to tackle and manage, di ba na-assess mo na yourself, no? And you would want to master in something. You start, if it's too difficult, too compounded, too complex, you start with the simple steps, but towards, not against. Kaya kung against, ma'am, bato gina, dugay na dulag yapon, yung ginando. Wow, no, that's different story. You have to go um, in the direction of your dreams. Like, for example, taking a PhD. No, it's not an easy feat, and it's not a walk in the park. Another one is setting a long-term goal and identify traits that you may need to reach there. When we look at the long-term goal, sometimes we tend to be challenged by the fact that it's not the duration of time, the we are so exhausted, like we are so exhausted rather. And there's so many circumstances kaya naman baka nga maindi ka na, right? Because at some point, when we look at perception, when we perceive success, sometimes we perceive success as a straight line, a linear line from A to B. But in reality, success might be, could be it's relative to each person. But I would like to emphasize that success is relative, but success also comes from the perception that it's an easy journey, right? So set a long-term goal and identify the traits that you may need. And what's the best way to become great? One, you have to accept. Acceptance is the key. At the moment, do what you can with what you have, where you can. When you are, example, a student, di ba? When you are a student and when you want to finish college, of course, you have to wait and you have to invest effort. Di pwede mag-graduate ka lang, pag enroll mo first year, graduate ka tayo. And if it's difficult, you just accept that it's difficult, but it won't last, right? Remembering these people, right? So read inspirational stories of how people overcome the challenges in their lives and you learn from them, right? And who are the people that inspire you? Are they also gritty? Huh? When I ask you whether they're gritty or not, I want you to think of this person where was there a point in their lives that they were about to give up but never did anyway and continue to live their life, reach their dreams, and become successful in their own right. So read inspirational stories to people. Avoid making marites or chismes. No? It's not if it's not helping you, don't do it. But I think it's best also to listen to worthwhile stories of people. Like for example, the story of this psychologist, who I also admire. No? I think if I'm not mistaken, 7 times she took the board. No? And finally, after the several tries of taking the board, she never gave up on her goal of becoming a psychologist. And at 38, Lucas became a psychologist, a Filipino psychologist. Also, he is a psychologist and he's a good friend of mine. And I'm sure some of you know him, as Negrense psychologist. And Mark, Police Lieutenant Mark T. Ortibano, is right now connected with the Philippine National Police. But Mark's story was really an inspiring one. After facing so many challenges in his personal life, and now that he is a psychologist, his story is also an inspiring one. The grit, the persistence, the resilience. And I think one way to become gritty also is to develop a strong social network of close reliable relatives and true friends. In this world, in the changing world, we tend to meet people along the way, and at some point of our lives, they disappoint us. People, sad to say that people tends, or we were born to disappoint each other. That sounds so stoic, no? But anyways, no, when we have close relatives or people whom we consider to be true friends, whom we can run to whenever we have problems and the like, no, we also feel secure, no? We feel confident. Read also inspirational quotes to bolster your mindset, like reading stories of people, reading quotable quotes, no? Read quotes coming from Rumi, Osho, whoever, people that inspires them. And of course, when we talk about grit, giving up is not really the word that best correlates to grit, because when you are gritty, you don't give up. Just keep going, going, going. And of course, lastly, practice gratitude every day. Like, we appreciate with the things that's been given to us, the opportunity that's been given to us, and we appreciate life as it is, and we pay forward. We do not, at some point, we kasi may tendency to go back and say thank you, yeah, and pay, right? But the best way of paying or being our expression of gratitude is paying it forward, especially to the people, to the community that wala sang ibalik sa imo kundi smile lang din, no, pag pasalamat, no. So it also gives you the sense of fulfillment, like in JCI Bacolod, we are trying our best. We are all volunteers. We are trying our best to invest time, effort, money, and to do something, to create change for the community, to make ourselves a catalyst of change to every person that we meet, to every people. Okay, so this one also is another self-talk that I'm going to share to you on grit. So when you feel like giving up, you remind yourself, I am not a quitter. I will repeat, little strokes spell great oaks. I am the engine, the little engine that could. I will ask a friend for help. I will look at the problem in another way. I will try 3 times before asking for help. And I will say my special inspirational number or word. No, use like when saying your inspirational number or word, you can say, no, I love you. I am enough. You can do it. Adja, whatever that is, now your special number. Do you have that special number? If you do, kindly type or key in your special number or special word, that reminds you, to continue your battle. This one is also very good. Now, I really like this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it says, do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. Like in the context of being great, we would want to follow the footsteps of those people we admire. It's tempting, and I could not blame you for it. But how about going instead where there's no path, and you have to do it and leave a trail for people? It is scary, no? The road less traveled. So it is scary, but if you really try, if you have this growth mindset, if you're gritty, you would, you will be amazed of what is your capability. No? Mas ma-realize mo na, pwede ko manigalimhin. Okay? So, to end my discussion, basically, becoming great from the context of grit, perseverance, your talent, your passion, your courage. At some point, you feel that you are not enough. You feel that I you feel that you fail in some way. And when you do, di ba, you feel na the broken, same way, feeling mo do ka, bakit? Anong nangyari? No? When you do self-assessment, you realize that there's something in there, right? So, in Japan, there is this kind of art, they call it kitsugi. Kitsugi is a Japanese art of repairing broken objects with gold because the floor reveals its history. The resulting piece is considered more beautiful. Like this kitsugi reminds us that when we tell our stories, it's not it's not only about happy stories, or it's not only about the success, right? The success actually is the end point. No, not necessarily. No, at some point, success is every day. Success, how you perceive success, no, it could be every day, but some would say success is at the end point, the results. No? But along the process, let me emphasize that there is some point that we feel, no, the struggles of failure. Like when we think a fixed mindset, like we can't do it again. But healing is also your story, and recognizing that you fail at some point of your life. It's also one way of making things great, right? Like when you recognize that you two are as human being and na ano ka man, nakakaway ka man, no? And you realize nga, when you fail gali, there's always a chance, no, to become better. Unless, if you don't like it, then the choice is yours, right? So, consider. Okay, to end my talk for this afternoon, I would like to share to you this story, no, of an elephant. Actually, a man who happens to pass by, he saw an elephant, and this elephant, the big elephant, of course, has a rope on one of his feet, and the man wonders, pwede ilang giti butungot, pwede ilang giti kaksuntok dako. Siya ngayon na siya magaling. Nga wala siya na ganito. And the man happens to meet the owner of the elephant, and he asked the man, nagaling ng elephant. And the owner said, the elephant, since sanggamay pa siya, he was trained. Nga hindi nga na ano na naigot ng iya nga naigot na siya til, and its mindset was that hindi siya kalit until the elephant grew, right? So, like, learning from this story, what's the moral of this story? Like, failure is part of learning. When we fail, if you would like to become great, you accept failure as part of learning. We should never give up the struggle in our life, because when we do, definitely we'll never reach the greatness that we want, whatever greatness that you perceive it to be, right? So I want you to remember that failure is part of learning, and we should embrace it. No, all people fail. Sino lang wala fail. We should never give up the struggle in life, and we should understand that in one way or the other, when we are faced with challenges, we grow. Like in the growth mindset, like in the grit concept, we grow out of it. But we have to put so much effort. Effort din. Hindi pwede nga wala lang kahimo, right? And lastly, I want to end my talk with a serenity prayer, and that joining everyone to pray with me. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay, so with that, thank you very much, everyone, and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Dr. Donna, our expert speaker, for the talk about grit to great. Let us give Doc Donna a virtual clap reaction, and we would like to request our virtual audience to please type "thank you" in the comment section. Let us express our appreciation to our expert speaker. All right. So we love the message of this talk. Now, as what Doc Donna has said, embrace your own story and keep on going, because failing is a normal part of our life. To help us deepen our understanding on the topic, we shall have an open forum at this point. We would like to ask our expert speaker, Doc Donna, to join us in our virtual stage, as well as I would like to invite to our live stream my two lovely colleagues who will be joining us for the open forum. Hello there. Good afternoon to you, Doc Donna. Yes, and for our audience who are joining us virtually, you may also join in the discussion by posting your questions through the open forum form link, or you may also participate through our comment section. So let's roll the red carpet for our featured guest. We would love to invite our vocational school administrator, Dr. Tina. She believes in forging meaningful connections and work continuously in the development of people through the growth mindset. So let's give a virtual clap to our first guest now to in our open forum, Dr. Tina Arbisido.
Thank you, Miss Red. Good
you.
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Doc Donna.
Thank you, Doc Tina. So the next speaker that I would like to introduce to you is also an expert speaker who is also able to talk about her ideas and emotions in a way that other people understand. So let's give a glad hand to the most loving and most cheerful Miss Sally Carmantrio.
Thank you so much, Miss Red. And hi, Doc Donna. Yeah, hi, Doc Tin. It seems
Hello.
like
Good
yeah, it seems
afternoon.
like we're having problem with the connection of Doc Donna. Hi,
Mhm.
there she goes.
Yes. So thank you, Miss Sally and Dr. Tina, and also Doc Donna. So let's start our discussion rolling. Take it away.
Thank you,
Yes.
Miss Red.
Thank you, Miss Red. That was really a very resounding
Hello.
presentation and
Yes.
very inspiring indeed. Thank
Mhm.
you, Doc Donna, for sharing your inputs to our audience. So let's start our discussion with the first question. Our first question says, how would you know that you possess grit? Because not everyone understands if they have
Yeah.
grit or not.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. And it's so great to be here. Despite the limitations and the challenges,
Yeah.
we are having a growth mindset. No, that's why we're pushing through this talk. Nan, we are walking
True.
our talk. This one is a very interesting question. How would you know that you possess grit? Grit actually is it's a character. No, it's within
Mhm.
us. Grit coming from the mindset of growth mindset. It means to say it can be learned, right? Um, there are a lot of researches focusing on developing grit on children.
Mhm.
Mm.
So it means to say as young as let's say 5
Mhm.
child or this ini nga bata may ara na siya yung characteristics no that pertains to grit. Remember, grit is perseverance, no, passion and perseverance towards reaching a long-term goal. So it does not happen overnight. It takes
Okay.
time. It dapat gina-practice ta para
Mhm.
ma-develop ta siya gani. That's developing grit
Yes.
no in us.
Yep.
Hindi man siya something nga pagbugtaw mo ara na siya dayon. So that's the main point. Anong mga indication nga may nga gritty ka no? So more likely no resilience is one.
Mhm.
Passion, passion
Mhm.
is one. Passion is something that you like doing even may bayad ka or wala, no? That's something that
Mhm.
you are
Mhm.
passionate about. And what are
Yep.
those things, no? Like teaching, no, counseling, like in your case, doing the things that you do, no? That's passion.
Mhm.
When we say perseverance, it means to say despite the challenges, you still persist to exist. Wala may
Mhm.
makapugong sa imo. Bahala na kung anong mahitabo, no, but more likely you tend to push through, no, despite the challenges, and you do not see the challenge usually we think of challenges as problems, no, sometimes, but in growth mindset, um, Dr. Dweck would remind us that problems are not problems, but they're just challenges. Now that is something that we need to conquer and we have to learn
Mhm.
from. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow, that's so nice. Yeah, we really need to know that because at times feeling mo bala, ay, wala pa ko sining, wala pa ko sang grit, hindi pa
Mm.
ko gritty, right?
Mm.
So there are times, of course, that you said that grit means courage, but that leads us to our next question: how to keep going even when you think you have exhausted all means and have no reason to bounce back at all.
Mm.
Well, this is a very realistic question, no? At some point, we tend to be, nang exhausted na, kapoy na,
Yes.
kapila na na-try ko, like, pila na ka-times ang try ko, do feeling ko, do wala gid siya gyapon, na wala man ko gyapon na, though, it seems that, in my perception of success, do wala gyapon na labot, no? Sometimes we tend to, just give up, no? Just give up. But anyways, now, when we look at ourselves, grit siling gani nato, or having this kind of characteristics, no, it has something to do with looking at your goal but doing what you can do at the moment.
Mm.
Kung sa ano pa bala, while you are in the moment, what are the things that you need to do that would lead you towards the realization of those dreams. So it means to say, inibing a statement, no, most likely doara ka na sa peak or sa end. Wala na ko may mahimo, pero in fact, may mahimo ka man gyapon. Like
Yes.
when you the statement that says wala na ko choice, having no choice or having not to choose is still a choice.
Mm.
Yan, kita mismo ginalimit ang aton ikasarang, no, to exhaust all other efforts, no. There's also another discussion na nga nalantaw ko, no, napamatian ko with Dr. Angela Duckworth. This question, amo man nga kind of question ang giniraise, no. What if, how would I know nga ini nga bagay kinahanglan ko pa siya padayunon, di ba? Na balang kinahanglan ko na siya give up guro kada wala gihapon. But Dr. Duckworth would remind us in her study of grit that we have to look into our passion. We have to look into what motivates us to do the things that we do. Because definitely, if you are gearing towards something that you are passionate about, grabe, hindi ka na mawadaan sang rason nga hindi mo siya pagpadayunon. No, like for instance, no, I'll take my life story, no, as an example. Hambal ko, no, Sally and I came from Kabankalan, no. So, grabe kapigado, kablay gid, no. All of us could relate to that, especially those who are coming from, coming from nothing gidya, that would believe nga hala makatapos pa ko ni, matapos ko pa ni ang pag-eskwela, no. But when you have this kind of dream or goal towards para sa self mo, tanan niya pwede mo himuon mo tanan, no. Like in my case, no, I explore scholarships like you're giving bala sa aton nga mga scholars, no. Na may mga scholarships, subong good thing. State universities wala na bayad, no. Ang ginastoryahan nato, no, ang reaching your goals or dreams, especially in education. So kung nag-give up ka or hindi ka interesado sa amon mo tong long-term goal, definitely mag-give up ka gini along the way. Because you see, no, success or the goal towards it is never a straight line. It's not a linear line. It's always been an up and down and up and down. So if you are not passionate about it, if I was not passionate about learning, definitely wala ko kalabot, no, wala ko natapos akon nga PhD in psychology, no. Hindi man ginapatikal ko na, but I could not afford to study to study and finish my PhD without the scholarship. So I was very thankful for CHED K-12 scholarship during my time, no. Pero amo na bala those dreams in pang pahigad mo lang anay, but still wala siya naghalin sa iyong paminsaron because this is something that you want, no, that you are passionate about. So this is what I'm referring to, no. I hope wala ako nagwa sa aton nga question. So ang point ko, look at your passion. Anong passion mo, no? Because you will never run out of ideas of your creativity on how to reach that goal.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah, you've mentioned that grit can be developed at an early stage, right? Bata pa siya, pwede na i-develop sang parents niya ang grit.
Yes.
So does it vary in terms of gender? Mas may gritty ang babae or lalaki or wala?
Wow, very interesting question. No, may
Yes.
may factor gender. Wala pa ko may nalabutan nga nabasahan no nga that gender really ano gani has a do kala ano siya bala ang correlation ng gender kag sa grit no. Pero like in general looking into the perspectives nga bata sila no pwede gid ma-learn no. I think this is also one way no of telling our parents no, to at some point look into the
Mhm.
situation where
Right.
your kid no is in right now, and if this kid really needs
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Okay.
we're having some technical issues with Doc Donna. We'll wait until
Yes.
he can go back. One of my takeaways ato ni earlier
Presentation.
discussion still is
Mhm.
that when I was young, I have this quote, and I always believe in this quote. Na this quote really pushed me to continue, move forward, and persevere. And
Mhm.
not today, I just realized that it was part of my grit. You know,
Wow.
you when you were young, di ba? Um, just as a sharing ni Doc Donna, na you have to have
Mm-mm.
a quote, grit quote. So I just realized listening to her, nga, grit quote ko to gali, and
Mm-mm.
that made me um push
Who?
for my passion, reach
Mm-mm.
for the things
Your
that I
dream.
want to do.
Mm.
So
Wait.
sometimes, no, when you're young, it's important, Galinan, you have a quote in life
Mm-mm.
na that will always enlighten you and that will guide you sa mga ginahambal ni Doc doon nga road less traveled. Kasi, di ba, sometimes, mayara kita isang aton, man yung ginahambal. I want to do this. But
Mm-mm.
sometimes people around us would tell us,
No,
hindi mo na
you
kaya,
can't
you
make
cannot
it.
do that. Di ba, mga
Yes,
mo na tell, hindi mo na
true.
kaya. So, dira
Mm-mm.
na masunod ang imo nga grit. So, ikaw,
Mm-mm.
ano to yung imo takeaway? What's your takeaway sa iyang discussion?
Kanami gid actually dito ako siyempre sa mga failures to bala. Nga amidst the failures they did not give up. So amo na ang life daw mo kahambal niya. It's not a straight line eh. Hindi siya
Yes.
straight line. May uphill ano gid battle.
Yeah.
Nga gid try ta nga i-surmount every day. So nice gid actually most of us experience that. But at times, we tend to forget nga, ay, may nalampawasan mo na to gali isang una. How much more ang ano, di ba?
Correct.
And, oftentimes, we are overwhelmed by the situation that we tend to forget, no, makaya taman ina. No? Wala na karami subong sa aton nga topic because nga, so, pwede gid, grit can be learned. So, growth mindset, pwede ta pa na abit may fixed mindset. Before, pwede ta pa na siya ma-change into growth mindset. Sa
Yes.
gid present kay ina ni Doc Donna.
Oo. And we also
Wala.
had that topic, di ba, during our own team building activity. Nga,
Yes, sa knowledge
it's
we
really
have
important
that.
to have a growth mindset, di ba? Kay
Mm-mm.
amo na siya ang makapropel sa aton to
Yes.
discover, explore new things in our life. Kay isang last na to nga discussion, di ba, may ara kita nabasahan nga at 50
Mm-mm.
ang discover nga amo ni gali ang iya gusto brahon, then
True.
nag-shift siya kay gusto yun na.
Mm-mm.
Just like an example, naging share ni Doc Donna, si Mark. You know Mark,
Mm-mm.
di ba?
Yeah,
He
we
was
know
a guy in the
Mark.
province. And then,
Oo.
he wanted to shift. Yun nga,
Mm-mm.
past ang gusto niya. Road less traveled for mga psychologists, I believe. Pero
Mm-mm.
pursue niya because kapalo siya nga deep inside him. He knows nga this will make him happy, di ba? So,
Yes.
imang patunta na karon si Doc Donna
Ari na siya.
ano siya?
Ari na siya, be. Mangkoton ta siya,
Ang
Doc Donna.
happiness and success. Ano ta na
Mhm.
karon si Doc Don?
Doc Donna, are you good now? Oh, it seems like we still have problem with her connection. So our guest speaker actually said a while ago that yes, we have that growth mindset because despite the problem, she was able to make it. She's in Surigao right now. She's in
Yes,
the province, but she was able to make it.
Yeah.
Mag-present
Yeah.
sa aton sa
So let's
gininga.
do some shout out sa aton nga mga viewers Yeah, joining us this afternoon. So, Alvin Hoban, thank you for joining our um, live discussion this afternoon. Sel, we also have Eugene
You're
Ugamco, our very own.
Oh, hi, Eugene. How are
Hi,
you? I
Eugene.
forgot.
And we thank Bacolod City College Sumag campus students.
While
Good
they're
afternoon
watching.
to everybody.
Mm. Because there are some actually, Doctina, that they're watching group bala sila how. That's
Mm.
why in a groups. And Ma'am Claville, Brillias. I
Feel
hope
brilliant.
yeah,
Hello.
I hope I pronounce your name correctly.
So
Okay,
sa
so
aton nga mga students from Sumag, and of course we from Sumag, Bacolod City College nga campus. I hope that you're learning a lot from this discussion. Kay kung estudyante kasi you need also something nga maka-inspire sa imo. And sometimes
Mhm.
things happen nga ma-inspire ka outside of the classroom, right?
Oh,
Hindi kaya in the
yes,
four corners of the classroom kaya you find it boring, wala ka
true.
gana. Sometimes
Mhm.
ma-move out ka sa dira nga space so that you can
Mm-mm.
discover new things. She's back.
Hi, welcome back, Ops. Hi,
She's back.
Doc Donna. Welcome back.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon once again. No? I actually ganamian ko sa inyo nga pag-catch ang aton nga conversation a while ago. No? I'm sure you're good friends with Mark also.
Yes,
Yeah.
No?
yes. Mm-mm. He was part of the human resource office
Yes.
of the province before. That's why we know Mark.
Right. No? And
Anyway,
he's
I
also
guess
a good friend of
yeah,
our. He's also a good friend and also at the same time a staunch supporter for mental health. No? Si
yes.
Mark.
Mhm. Naka-schedule na siya actually sa amon nga mag-speaker man.
Yes, yes. No, masami gid nga man siya
Yeah.
no to enlighten us more
Mm-mm.
about
Yes,
his experiences no sa sa iyang new agency.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By the way,
Anyways,
we have students from Bacolod City College watching us from the Sumag
Hello.
campus. So I hope they're learning a lot from our session. So
Yes,
shall
yes.
we move forward to the fourth question?
first question, yeah.
Sige, sige.
A while ago,
Before
I
mag-run out akong
presented,
connection.
Yeah.
yeah, you presented about the assessment of how to
Yeah.
assess your grit. So this time around, we will ask you, how can we measure the person's grit? Is it measurable?
Yes, yes, it is measurable. Measurable. Actually, Dr. Duckworth developed a test, a grit na scale, wherein a person can answer questions, though 8 questions, and siya very quick lang, very short, I mean, and you can answer it quickly. But of course, do not judge yourself for, after receiving the, it's just a
Result.
tool for you to, kung saan pa bala do, i-assess, do ka self-assessment. But it's
Mm-mm.
not something that, it's not a personality test.
Mhm.
So base
Yes.
nag-expect na yun nga nagamuni. But it's a very good tool, no, to understand or for you to have an overview of your grit, no, and might as well take the test man. No, I can share. Actually sa book niya, it's open man. Pwede mo siya, sa book niya actually she's allowing it for readers or the public to answer it.
That's nice. Try
Yes.
ta na after.
Yeah. So, at least
Okay.
makabalo ka to nga mga viewers na pwede nila ma-measure ang ilang grit.
Mm-mm.
So, down to our last question, when does grit matter most?
Wow, grit matters most every time.
Every
Every time,
time.
good. Like when you,
Mm.
wala, each one of us has his or her personal goals in life. Hindi ko pating wala
True.
kay handom sa kabuhi,
Yes.
Wala?
Mm-mm.
And when you are beset by challenges while you are on your journey towards realization of that handom and dream, no, you check yourself, no, are you gritty enough? Because when we look at grit pagid, isa pagigali ka component ni grit, no, hindi siya yabla like the fixed mindset kung alam ka ikaw na mangin successful. No, it's not, it does not guarantee you. Kung may IQ ka nga amo na yung level, no, mas successful ka dayon. Grit actually tells us the other way around. Like, it doesn't necessarily, intelligence is okay. Wala yung question, wala na yung question. No? Your mental level of mental ability is very okay kung nami, gid, kung excellent or ano mga level, kung stay 9 ka, no? 9 gid ang imo score. But, when we look at grit, it tells us, it gives us a message that maski hindi ka alam, but you have this skill, you have this skill and you have this talent and you developed it into skill by putting so much effort. You have a dream and you persevere to reach that dream. No, that's where grit matters the most. As human beings, we aspire for something that we want to be. And success is relative. Di ta pwede ma-compare ang imong success sa akon nga success. Depende sa paglantaw mo sa perception mo bali sang success. So, grit is one important characteristic that every person, especially students, now to have, because I'm sure you are looking into your future nga matapos mo imo pag-eskwela. And grit is a must, no? And it's not only sa pag-eskwela but after eskwela. Diba? It's a
Yeah.
life skill.
In your
It's
career,
something
sa
that
iyong
you need.
pagkakabuhi.
Yes, very true.
Yes.
Interpersonal relations, you also need
Yes.
grit.
Yeah. Wow. Kadamo pag gigamitan isang question sa imo. Very interesting isang topic. But we don't want to take much of your time, Doc Donna. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Do you have any parting message for our viewers?
Do not ever let other people define you as a person. No, you have to really define yourself. It pays when you know yourself. No, you assess what are the things that you are capable of doing, and when you discover that there's something lacking, no, do something about it. Work on it. Never give up. No, and when you look at your, don't just stay in the level where you are now, wherein you can be still be more or better
Productive.
than you are at the moment 10 years after, right? So
Yeah.
go back, no, to your own dreams, your passion, no, and purpose, no. And when you lead, no, when you do something for the community, no, you lead with passion, no. Hamo na sa mga among team sa JZI Philippines, lead with passion, no? So going back to
Nice.
grit, we are reminded, no, that we are passionate, no, to help and lead and serve the people in the community at large. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share, no, this something that I know, and I'm glad to be part of NOLITC. Every time I feel so blessed to be here. Thank you very much, Doc Tina, Ma'am Sally, Miss Red, and Miss. Yun.
Meg.
And another one, I forgot her name. I'm sorry.
Miss Meg.
Meg. Si Miss
Another
Meg.
beautiful woman. Yan, Ma'am Meg. Yan. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Doc Donna. Thank you for your time. And even if you're away, still you were with us, joined us for this afternoon's NOLITC Cares episode. Back to you, Miss Red.
Thank you very much, Doc Donna, and to my lovely colleagues, Dr. Tina and Miss Sally, for this another meaningful afternoon that we have. According to Doc Donna, problems are not just problems, but they are challenges that we can overcome. So we are being reminded again that there is something that we can do at the moment. All right. So let us know what are your insights from this webinar and how grateful we are again with Doc Donna for imparting with us such a very meaningful message about grit. So let us comment. Now we encourage our virtual audience and participants to comment in the comment section. Let us know your insights and your feedback of this webinar. You can also share a virtual reaction right now and let us show Doc Donna how grateful we are for her talk. Okay, so also allow me to thank every one of you, of course, our virtual audience who are attending online. Thank you once again for sharing your afternoon with us. Also, we would like to express our most profound appreciation to our expert speaker, Doc Donna, for giving this very insightful talk about Grit to Great. Let us present this certificate of appreciation to our expert speaker, the province of Negros Occidental, and the Negros Occidental Language and Information Technology Center presents this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Donalyn Guerrero Lastima, registered psychometrician and education expert, for sharing her valuable expertise and insights in this commendable and her commendable service extended as our resource speaker in this webinar, Grit to Great, given this 13th day of October through YouTube and Facebook live stream, signed by our vocational school administrator, Dr. Maria Cristina Arquisido. Once again, let us give Doc Donna a virtual clap reaction. Thank you so much, Doc Donna. And we have exciting lineup of speakers and topics waiting ahead. So we would like to invite you once again to join us in our future webinars. Catch our NOLITC Cares webinars as well that will be live streamed through the same platform that you are currently using. We are sharing these very nice, good topics through our NOLITC official Facebook page and our YouTube channel. I also would like to emphasize how you can get a certificate for attending this webinar. Please provide us your evaluation through the link provided in our comment section. You may also scan the QR code that is flashed on your screen. So we encourage you to do it right now while you can still have access to our links and the QR code. However, the link will be closed, or the evaluation site will be open only until 6 o'clock this evening. So your email address should be typed in correctly. Be careful with the spelling of your email address so it won't bounce back. All right, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes our NOLITC Cares webinar. Please, we are continuously reminding you to please stay safe as we are still transitioning back to our normal way of life. Keep smiling and stay strong. NOLITC Inspire, NOLITC Cares. Avance, Negrense.